Good morning. It's April 20th. This is Rich Posson for the Critical Point podcast. And for this particular show, let's talk about the stock market. I've got the intraday chart here of the S&P 500 mini futures up. And this is a 3-hour chart, by the way, candlestick. And what we can see is that the market sold off overnight. This was understandable. The model said there should be some kind of seller interest trend following a buyer interest late last week for what's called the level 4 intraweek swings. We can see an indicator of the stochastics getting down towards oversold, but still widening spread. No sign of a bottom here. The trend is down. And we're about ready to trigger a SAR that might lead to some additional selling, but I'm concerned it's actually going to be a fake out and won't work. And the reason is the model suggesting inside this that we've seen buyer-seller interest to complete a larger level 4 trend of seller interest. In other words, we're looking for a bottom this morning, and the market should rally late today and may extend well into tomorrow. And then it will peak again, and it'll have another wave of seller interest. So we've seen a wave of seller interest that was linked to crude oil primarily. Late last week, we had an explosion here to finish off the week that was linked to drug news relative to the virus. We can see that, yes, it's trending lower, but it's just oversold, and the model's saying we're getting very close that we could have enough seller interest waves intraday-wise that we could get some kind of a bounce out of this. Now, what kind of a bounce? Well, there's a larger trend going on. It's called the level 3, and it's the most important uptrend and downtrend during a month. It's how we do business, and I've actually gone out and actually monitored business, watched how certain businesses actually trade commodities, stocks, and I can see that, yes, a certain amount of business must be done for the month, okay? Now, normally this level 3 trend would come down much deeper than this, but what I want to point out, there is a possibility today's bottom would actually be a level 3 trend, and therefore it spent almost all of its time trending higher. And the point is, if that puts in a level 3 bottom, and then puts in a level 3 top later today, on tomorrow, or anytime this week, which would probably be the latest for top, we can flip this level 3 trend around to entirely the opposite characteristic, meaning it spends most of its time going down, maybe all of its time, and it may not bottom until a couple weeks from now, okay? And that could be significant in the sense that the larger level 2 trend, which I'll talk about in a moment, can also top, and we can finally get a sizable pullback going into a bottom due late May. Now, those are the larger trends. Let's get back here to what we're just talking about, this really short-term stuff. There are other scenarios. One is that last week we saw a level 3 top. Maybe we put a level 3 bottom in today or a little bit later this week. Well, then that would allow for the exact opposite and actually go higher the next 2 weeks. So all we know is that technically this is still in an uptrend. They really haven't damaged much yet this morning, okay? So we want to watch out that this can be just a setback and the market still has higher to go. What can we use for parameters? Well, there's really not much here. You can see the support is way down into 2740, maybe 2770 for the June contract. We can see it's near this SAR. Maybe that'll work around 2804, that it won't trigger a sell or that'll be a trap and turn out to be support. We know we have overnight resistance coming in here at around 2874, and then of course we know we have the high of last week at around 2885. Let's zoom out to the daily now and look at the next larger trend. So here's the June futures. We can see our bear market for the level 1 downtrend. There was also a level 2 downtrend. And we can see the level 3s causing fluctuations along the way. And the level 4 I just showed you creates fluctuations just day to day within these level 3 trends. So here's level 3, buyer interest, seller interest, buyer interest. And now what's going on? Is this topping out? We had that gap last week because of that drug news. Are they just filling that gap and going higher? I'm saying yes. But violation of the low on April 16th at 2746 would concern me. It could still be just a level 3 bottom and a bit of a trap, and they just put it higher over the next 1 or 2 weeks. But what if this level 3 that I'm currently showing here as of April 14th, what if we rolled that out and it topped by tomorrow? That would pretty much be the longest allowed for level 3. But if we put that level 3 bottom in, now we can see a bigger downswing. So we just have alternate scenarios here, alternate forecasts this morning that we have to watch out for. Currently, my guess is we're going to get a pop into tomorrow. We can see the 5-day stochastic actually trending lower, leaving overbought, but it's a narrow spread, so it's not really showing a sign of rising odds for lingering downside momentum. Strong higher close could easily turn that back to the long side. Okay, that's our concept of what we think's going on at the moment. And as far as making a 1 week to 2 week forecast, we think there's a more chance of upside here unless the low of April 16th at 27.46 is violated. Then we have to reevaluate and may turn bearish. That's it for the really short-term side. In a few minutes, I will create the video podcast of what are the larger trends up to. And there is something very important. We're coming up to an important top here soon, any day now, and at least by the end of this month. So see that podcast as well. Thank you. As always, manage your risks, relative analysis, others, and your own.